Easy review. Easy, quick review. Hopefully this sounds good. I keep saying quick review though. Haven't I said that? Quick review? And then it's just like probably 25 minutes, half an hour. 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I'm almost kind of worried. I gave it a 3 out of 5, so 6 out of 10. This movie, in my opinion, was like a good example of like, I don't know if I want to say just kind of typical like Hollywood like mid good level, like safe mid good. It was like a very like totally watchable movie. It was pretty good. It wasn't like that memorable. I don't think it's like a classic. It's not like that great. It's fine. Like I went. Oh wait, I didn't go to the theater to see this one. It was like it was fine for like a one time watch for me. I don't think it's like super rewatchable. And I know I'm kind of doubting my score on the first of the new ones, the 28 years later, because I gave that a 3.5. But that one had a bit more zombie stuff in it. This one was like spoilers, like always, right? So this no real spoilers yet. Before I said that, but spoilers like always. Turn off the video if you want spoilers. There was basically no zombie stuff at all in this, and as a zombie movie lover. I mean, I like horror movies in general, but I do like zombie movies. Not just any zombie movie though. You can't literally put any crappy like low budget zombie movie in front of me. I'm gonna like it. But I like the like Dawn of the Dead. What was it? What was it? 2004? Like the new like Dawn of the Dead, the Romero. That one is one of the best zombie movies there is. The original 28 Days Later was really fantastic. I liked 28 Weeks Later too, and there's another. What are another good ones? I thought Shaun of the Dead was a good parody, like comedy zombie movie, and there's a lot of good zombie movies. I'm not here to name every good zombie movie, but when I go into a zombie movie, this is how I kind of like always view movies for me. And maybe my impression is the impression I have, like what I want out of a movie is wrong. I guess some people would argue, but when I go into a zombie movie, I do want zombies. I do want some zombie action. I do want some hordes of zombies and they're running away and shooting them and picking them off and they're kind of gaining on them or whatever. Or like, the people trip and the zombie, they're getting tired and the zombies are relentless or whatever it is. I like that whole horde of like mindless zombies that people can mow down or like, take a fire axe to or whatever it is. I like that, like the survival, like, hiding, survival, running away, shooting them. It's cool. And this is like, this movie was fine. It was all right. It was a pretty good movie. I'm not gonna say it's a bad movie. It was totally watchable. But there was really like no zombies in it. So there was like one zombie in it. It was like the alpha or whatever from the first. There was literally, I think literally. There, it's not like okay. You're saying like literally how many zombies were movie? Like I don't know, 8, like 8 zombies or something. Like there was basically no zombies in it. So the whole movie revolved around 2 key core scenes, basically. We had the cult now, the upside down cross guy, cult guy. Yes, they are bad. It's a bad cult, of course, right? Kind of configure that from the first one that this guy's going to be messed up. He's going to be a bad guy. That the son, the young kid, gets sucked into that, club or whatever, that cult. And, so he gets like initiated in the cult thing. Basically, he essentially had to like fight someone, like basically kill another member or whatever. The guy was basically going to kill him, and he sort of was like self defense. And then he's like, "Good, okay, you're one of my fingers now." Like forget what is said, like Freddy or something. I don't know. See, no, it wasn't Freddy. But yeah, he has little like. They're all named the same thing, and he gives them wigs, basically, like blonde wigs, and he has this whole thing, like my dad's like Satan or whatever, the cult guy. And there's really only like 2 main scenes that I remember in this movie. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, there's little things here and there. At one point, he's this guy, and you think, where is this coming from, right? This is the big thing for me. I'm like, this looks so, like, what's the word? Made for previews. Like, it kind of annoyed me almost, where it's like, what could possibly justify this being a scene in a zombie movie? Like, why is he like, like, why is he doing that? So it is semi-justified, I guess, and it was actually it was one of the 2 main scenes of the movie, and I did think it was like a fun scene. So the 2 main scenes, I guess, were the cult goes to this random survivor like family. From what I understand, they were basically just like random people. They didn't have much relevance to anything or anyone. They're just kind of like people making their way, like surviving. And the cult kind of went into their house or whatever, and they're like, "We are travelers" or whatever, and like, like we're just getting fed or whatever, and then like, are you guys gonna leave or whatever? And they're like kind of being like sadistic, sort of like you can tell they're kind of like messed up, and they're like, "Go dance around for us" or whatever, and like they're just being like, it makes everyone uncomfortable, obviously, and then he's kind of like, "Ooh, it's funny," but like it makes everyone uncomfortable because they're just weirdos who kind of like went into this house, and then the family's like, "Are you leaving?" He's like, "Oh, of course we're gonna leave." He's like, "No, but after we kill you or whatever." So yeah, then it's basically the two main scenes were like a sort of like a torture scene, kind of, where they're like killing this family and or whatever, this gang of survivors that semi resembled like a family, basically. And maybe they were some family members, I'm not sure, but it was like a little whatever. So yeah, they were killing them. The kid wanted to like run away, and he sort of bonded with one of the members who was like less sadistic. Of course, she was the one with like an upside down cross like in her head. So she was like a cool like punk rock chick, basically, or something. That's kind of like the vibe you get from it. Is like, oh, she's not like totally weird. She's like more of a cool like punk rock Satanist girl who like might even be a love interest later on. Who knows, for the little the kid. So. But I mean, I'm sure she's done her share of killing. But she kind of like empathizes with the kid being scared and not wanting to do like sick like sadistic culty gang things, and basically the leader's like, oh, go get that woman or whatever. I don't know. Like there's some stuff like there's like a fight in that part too. The family, they had the one guy fight somebody, and the cult, like spoilers again, obviously the cult member, I'll say gang or cult interchangeably, I don't know, they're like a sadistic cult kind of thing. They killed a family member. They think they maybe had a chance, they didn't, they killed them. Even the ones that looked like weak in the gang are still pretty agile and nimble with their knives and stuff. And the main guy, I wish I forgot, what was his name again? Like, see, I don't even remember his name, Lenny or something. Like, I don't even know. He tells the little kid, the main kid, he's like, "Oh, go get that woman who ran away," or whatever. And I called this scene. I know I'm going to sound so pretentious because I'm going to say this in a lot of movies, like where I called the scene. He's like, "Please." And she's like scared. He has his bow drawn or whatever. Like, first thing, like, why would you draw your bow? But if you want to like get out of the stupid cult thing that you're obviously not into. But then he like lowers his bow and he's like, "Please take me with you." And then she kind of looks like semi-empathetic, but you could tell it's like I'm like, she's gonna punch him in she's gonna hit him in the sternum or something. Like, so she did that exactly, and she hits him like and then runs away. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of obvious. It's sort of funny, I guess. It's pretty obvious, predictable. Like, I would literally do that in that scene too. Like, if I was the woman, I would do that. Like, why would you trust like the kid who just pulled a weird mask off and like had a bow drawn to you in this like sadistic cult that like killed your whatever, your survivor group? So there's that, and they keep moving along, and they talk about like the Lord of Satan or whatever, his father, and she's like the like semi okay-ish one of the one that kind of empathizes with the kid, one with a cross on her head or whatever. She's like, I've seen him. I've seen the the Lord or whatever that he supposedly keeps talking to. It's alluded to that he's probably like some kind of like schizophrenic or something as well. See, like, it's kind of weird because the movie wants it both ways, where like there's a good like social back and forth like tug of war type thing in that scene where she's like, I've seen him. He's like, oh, you've seen him. And he's kind of like bewildered because like you're thinking as an audience member, like, yeah, he's making this shit up. Like, just for, it's like a control aspect. Like he talks to the divine Lord Satan or whatever, and he's like the special guy. You know what I mean? That's a common control, technique in like cults and religion and whatever. So it's weird because the movie kind of wanted it both ways, where it does like allude to he's actually schizophrenic, but also he's manipulative and like is making it up. So I don't know, it kind of wants it both ways, sort of. Maybe it's 50-50 where he's like, Anyway, so she's like, I seen him, and it's this guy, and he has all these bones, of course, whatever it's called, like reliquary or whatever, this, tribute to the dead. And that is pretty insane when you have the satanic cult come upon this guy's, and he's not doing this at the time, obviously, but he's like dancing with the alpha because he keeps giving the alpha zombie morphine or whatever. So she saw him like dancing with him to like some music or whatever, and she's like, "Wow, that's like Satan or whatever." And I don't know if she truly believes that or if she's just kind of playing like a social psychology tug of war with the leader. But in any case, he's like, "Oh, okay, like, oh, you've seen him or whatever." So then they check it out, and then he's like, "Wow, this does look pretty weird." And he goes alone. He's like, "I have to go alone." So he goes in alone, and he's actually visibly nervous. And I did like that. This is probably like my favorite parts of the movie. Is like just the social psychology aspect of it. Of like, he's like kind of a liar, and then she like says she's seen the Satan guy, and then he's like, "Really, what?" And then he's like getting nervous, and like it was kind of funny. And he basically says like, "No, I'm not, I'm not Satan." He's like, "I'm just like a doctor, and this is like a tribute to the dead," and blah blah blah. And he's like, "Well, I'm in a bind." The cult guy, he's like, "I'm in a little bit of a bind." He's like, "Oh, that's kind of a relief. I was getting a little nervous." And he's like, "Well, can you like put on a bit of a show and say like these things, or like I'll, essentially." It's actually a pretty nice, cordial conversation. He's like, "I'll kill you essentially if you don't kind of like work with me here to like gain him more like cult power, social cult power, essentially like help him socially, where he can pretend he's Satan and then he's adorned him with sacred blah 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 like leadership or knowledge or whatever, the like typical like social cult shit." And so the best this is that then it all comes into play when you're like, what could this possibly be? So it was probably the best scene in the movie, and it had nothing to do with zombies, but it was basically he puts on like some rock music. It was kind of funny, and he comes out and he has like his makeup on and stuff, and he's pretending to be like Satan, but he's like being kind of funny too with like the movements. He's like dancing and stuff, and then he like put dust, like drug dust in their faces when they're playing the music, and they're all like like kind of like rocking out when he's like they're like tripping and like he's putting on a rock show for them essentially. And he didn't breathe fire, but he spun these like coal things like a fire and made like a fire ring around them and stuff with like gasoline or whatever it was. So that scene was admittedly like I didn't even want to like that as much as I did. I thought that was a really like entertaining, funny scene. Like I was out of my seat like what like it was funny. So I mean, I'll give it that. Like, at least deserves like 3 stars for like that scene, I guess. But overall, yeah. And then what happened? I mean, I won't give away the ending. It's just kind of that was one of the last scenes, really. I mean, that was basically the cap point where this guy's kind of making breakthroughs with the zombie, like the alpha zombie. He's like sedating him enough where he's becoming more like docile and kind of understanding things or whatever, and he's kind of like working on him chemically. And the zombie ends up saying like moon at one scene. He's like, oh my god, he was basically gonna like euthanize the zombie to give him like everlasting, relief or peace or whatever. And he's like, oh my god, he's like, I might be onto something, because like the zombie actually like says a word when he's being kind of chill, meditative with the zombie one night. He's like sitting under the stars with the zombie and like, listening to music or whatever he does with the zombie. He's like his friend or something. And so he was kind of working on that. And then, the Satan scene happens. And then, blue, blah, blah, some stuff. I don't want to spoil the entire thing, but it's basically one of the last scenes in the movie. And it kind of is like, oh, then here we go. And then I can't not say this. So, like, the fanfare, in my opinion, a bit corny. Like, you're like, this is kind of cool, but it's all, like, I don't know, at least for me. I was like, this is kind of cool, but it's also kind of corny. And it's like, okay, so this is 28 years later, right? So, right, where is he? Where is he? You can see it, right? You can see, come on, does it not say Cillian Murphy anywhere? Oh, Cillian Murphy, yes. So he is in this movie, right? Cillian Murphy. That was 28 days later after the zombie outbreak. This is 28 years later. So now it kind of goes like, not full circle, like time trap, but it kind of goes full circle. Like, and interweaves to like the first movie in a sense, where the ending of the first movie they're left off where Cillian Murphy's with his new like girlfriend slash survivor, and they escape into this valley. I forget the area that they live in, so excuse me for that, but they're in like Sheep Valley of like New Zealand or wherever they live, or Scotland or something. And they kind of, they're just there and they're living their life. At the first one, they find their way of living a semi-peaceful life amidst the outbreak or whatever. So now here we are 28 years later. The main kid in this movie and his new, like, punk rock chick Satan girlfriend kind of, like, escape. They're on the move in the end. I don't want to spoil exactly how that... a lot of it's kind of just implied anyway. But they're, like, on their own then in the end. And, they're running from some zombies. Wow, one of the only scenes was some zombies, right? And it's like far away. It's not very like zombie oriented. It's just more like they're struggling. They're like kind of running from some zombies, and they're running across like a whatever, and over a little rock like wall, rock fence thing into like this like Scottish New Zealand type Sheep Valley. And then you see, Cillian Murphy's in the house teaching his daughter, who looks to be around, I'm not super good at guessing ages, maybe like 13 or something. So that means he had a kid with his girlfriend of the last movie, like the survivor girlfriend he was sort of with, 15 years later, right? Is that right? 15, 16, 17, 18, yeah. She's around 13, so 14, 15 years later. I don't know. That's kind of like... Is it possible? Yeah, but it's kind of weird that they had a kid 13, 14 years later. And it's possible also that woman is out doing something, or maybe she died of some kind of illness. But it doesn't show the woman from the first movie. And it shows this girl who's around 13 years old, meaning he had a kid around 14, 15 years later, right? So they survived for like 14, 15 years in relative peace and tranquility in this like Sheep Valley. But then I guess she grew ill, possibly. That's sort of just the only thing I can think of. And died because she wasn't in the scene. And they also probably, didn't use protection. So, they were good about it for 14 years and then had a kid, But anyway, it shows he's teaching his daughter, like homeschooling her or whatever. And then it shows the kid, the main of the new movies, and the, punk rocker or whatever, like Satan little girl. And they're running from zombies. And then the daughter of Cillian Murphy's like, oh my God, there's people. And he's like, we can help him. And then Cillian Murphy's like badass. And he's got his rifle. He's like, of course we will. And it's like, dang, like 28 years later, whoa! And then you as a fan of the series obviously are supposed to be like, which it's like kind of cool, but I also think it's kind of like corny fanfare, like shit that was not really that necessary to me. Where you're like, whoa, that blows my mind. It went full circle, horseshoe to like Cillian Murphy, and then that's where they were in the first one, and now the kid in this one. Whoa! And I didn't think it was necessary personally. I really didn't. But I mean, it's kind of cool. Maybe he'll be in the next movie. Who knows? Maybe like they're going to make another one. They're going to try to make some kind of series out of this. It seems like everything nowadays is a rehash or some like it's a semi rehash, right? Like all of these years later, they're rebooting the 28 years, days, weeks, years later. Now it's years later series or whatever. And I can't say I don't like a good zombie movie, but is this a good zombie movie? It's an okay movie. I barely consider it a zombie movie, though, to be honest. So I kind of I have mixed feelings about it. And the fanfare aspect, if they tie in Cillian Murphy and if they make another one now and they tie in Cillian Murphy and there's some cool zombie action, we're back to Cillian Murphy and he's got a gun and we get some we get some Dawn of the Dead esque, some old school 28 Days Later, some zombie running around trying to escape the rabid, scary running zombies, and they're shooting them with bows or guns or whatever, and they're like a fight for survival. I think that'd be really cool, but we'll just see where it goes if they make another one. I definitely like Cillian Murphy. It's not like I don't like seeing him, so we'll see if they make another one. I just don't have... I kind of have a slight problem with everything Hollywood nowadays is either a reboot or an endless... let's endlessly make... that you can't just make a good movie. Let's make a movie and let's make it good. It always has to be this giant series, this continuation of ooh, tune in next time to the next movie. And we'll see. We'll see if it continues and if it's good or not. But yeah, overall, pretty decent movie. As a zombie movie, a little disappointed. not super rewatchable. I wouldn't go out and buy the DVD or the Blu-ray or anything. But like I'm happy I watched it. It wasn't terrible, and it had a couple decent scenes. It really only had, like I said, two major scenes in the whole thing. If you really think about it, like main scenes of 28 Years Later had like two main scenes, and that didn't quite carry it enough for me to make it like this is such a classic. This is an epic classic movie. It's not. It's not a classic. It's not like epic. It's not. It's fine. It's totally fine. It's mid good, like 3 out of 5. 6 out of 10, mid good. It's good, but it's like mid good. So, yeah, and I guess I rated it a little lower than the average fan base. They liked it more than me. That's a pretty solid rating. I can't really argue too much against it. It's fine. I think it's slightly overrated, but it's fine. Overall, it's a pretty decent movie. But yeah, so that's my review of 28 Years Later. If you haven't seen it, I hope you like it. Hopefully I didn't spoil it too much. I didn't try to spoil too much after the dancing whatever rock scene if you do end up seeing it. Yeah, worth a watch, but I would just go in with tempered expectations personally.